coming to you live from the USS Missouri. It's the 10-Point Podcast. My name is Bruce. Now, since your asses are on the line, sailors, I authorise you right now to do whatever you can to aid in the delivery of the podcast this week. Because if I can't goddamn control you, I might as well support you. Correct?
Let's get a picture of Elena. What's she called? Elena Eliak, whatever it's called.
Something
That'll get the raters in.
Yes. With me this week,
segue.
my sailors on my ship on the whatever sea it was they're meant to be on, never established that. You're a sorry-looking sailor. It's Chris.
Welcome to the revolution.
Revolution, because it keeps on revolving. It's not a movement. And second, this guy's a pain in the ass. It's Andy.
It's true.
It's not much in the way. I thought there'd be more insults flown around in this. Thrown around.
No, it's just proper tactical insurgent, no dicking around, really.
They're all professionals.
Yeah, they get to the point.
Yes. We are the 10-Point Podcast.
Hey.
You'll find us at 10pointpodcast.com. I always try and change the order if I say these things, so something getting bored by saying the same things every week.
You can find us on OnlyFans.
Can we? Have we got
Oh.
OnlyFans? It's finally set up, is it? Have we finally convinced Chris?
Only hands.
Only hands. Only hands. Yes. Google 10-Point and podcast. You will find us in many shapes and sizes on the internet, whether it be OnlyFans or otherwise. YouTube, you can watch the
once again, another fake Chinese page.
another imposter.
Yes. No, they're like it's our stuff, but it's all in Chinese.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Because remember there was like one video randomly went onto like a Chinese thing.
That's
Yeah,
right.
with like one of the top Google searches, just random fake Chinese website. It's not me setting it up. Some China guy just loves it.
must be some
Presume guy.
try to expand us into the east.
Yep.
Yeah, basically YouTube, Spotify, everywhere you get podcasts, type 10-Point Podcast and you'll find us. Specifically, movie reviews is what we do. You'll find that here. Before we get on to this week's podcast, what was our highlight of the last week? I have learned that I have been the one to go to the movies this week. I saw a double header, but I'm only going to talk about my highlight this week, Scream 6, which presumably neither of you have seen.
Nah.
No. So I will not give my spoiler review. It is Scream. It's what you go into it anticipating. This one, more than any of the others, the whole film is the film. The film is about who is it? Like I mean that's obviously every.
I had to stop every time.
I watched Scream 2.
He's back.
The specific. I'm back now. Right. Okay. This
Yes.
specific one is mostly about the whole way through. There's like a dozen characters, and this film intentionally makes you think every single one of them at any point could be the killer. Like it's more than all the rest. It's driving home. Anyone could be the killer. They all have a reason to be the killer. And then we get our new Jamie Kennedy character. She explains the rules again and sets up that you can't trust anybody. It's good. I think I like Scream 5 better. They have got a serious problem coming that Jenna Ortega is going to be a superstar and she's not the main character in Scream. So at some point, she's going to have to be like the main character one way or another. But it's worth your time. I wouldn't run into the cinema to see Scream 6.
It's fine. I'll wait to streaming services.
As far as working out who done it, who was the bad guys, I thought what was revealed to be the correct killer, I thought that was the red herring. So I ruled it out. And I went a different direction with my opinion.
Is it Skeet Aldrich with a little mustache on the poster?
Yeah,
Twiddling it, going,
looking totally different to how he does in the film. Yeah,
Just
so
fun brother.
Hello, sweet.
Sweet
Aldrich.
Aldrich.
Sweet Ulrich. Yeah, he's the good twin, not the evil twin. I thought the red herring was too much of a red herring, so I ruled it out, and it was the actual answer, kind of. In the end, I didn't get it especially right. But yeah, it's okay. It's Scream. And there will probably be another one because this one's done quite well.
Yes.
And put it this way, they didn't kill everybody, so like there will be another one. Who else was a highlight of the
I
last?
feel like me and Chris will double team this one. So
I do have a different one, but I'll let you
Alright.
carry on.
Right, I'll take this one then. I'm going to also say quick thumbs up for Last of Us finished. I'm
Okay.
alright with it. Pretty good.
That was-
However,
I'm the entire season behind on it.
right,
But
no,
I'll get
pretty good. Liked it. I'll get another one definitely.
Yeah.
So we have talked every single season about Mando and how brilliant it is.
we love Mando.
Mhm.
Oh my fucking god, that last episode was a pile of gobshite.
Best opening 5 minutes.
Oh, like, I was like, Chris randomly sent me a message and went, that was a pile of shit. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, have you not watched Mando yet? I was like, no, I'm about to put it on. And I'm literally watching it like 5 minutes, like, fuck it, what's he talking about? And then literally went, well, that was 40 minutes, and probably one of the longest fucking episodes as well, of just
it's
fuck
the
all.
longest. It is by 2 minutes longer than one from like season 2 or something like that. It's the longest
I
episode.
genuinely thought after that opening, I was like, oh, this is going to be an absolute banger. And then as soon as the change happened, I was like, oh, out comes the phone.
Like I normally
every 10 minutes.
I was like, we're watching. I was like, oh my god, Coruscant. Yes, finally we're in Coruscant. Oh my god, they made that into a boring mega city of I didn't give a shit. Normally I like, oh look at this visual, look at this. Oh look, it's a sand planet. I'm hooked. This had Coruscant, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about these two characters at all. Don't bring in new numbers that I don't give a shit about as well. Give me the other stormtroopers and other people. I don't want to fucking know about you guys. And then we get to the end. It's like, all right, Mando's back. And it ends. I was like, for fuck's sake!
It was a shit sandwich of an episode, is what it was.
As very much so.
Very good at the beginning, and I very much like at the end, where spoiler alert for episode 3 of Mando, Bo-Katan accidentally joins the Watch or whatever they're called.
I'm all for that, but what a fucking pile of shit.
But yeah, to have like, I've not watched it. I've watched episode 1, and this is how it felt to me. To have an episode of Andor break out in the middle of a Mandalorian episode really caught me off guard, and I wasn't like,
I would say you're very much right. There is an Andor. Like Andor has its ups and downs, but yeah, some episodes are very much like that. It's just like you don't give a fuck.
And also, continuing with spoiler alert, I absolutely knew that woman was not to be trusted by the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole time, I'm like, no, she's got some ulterior motive here.
She's still working for old what you call him, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, Moff Gideon.
That's it. Yeah, but
maybe we don't know actually. I couldn't actually tell which way she was actually leaning, but for her at the very end to go. Also, mind flare. Isn't that something in Stranger Things?
Yeah, that is the big bad.
Yeah. She's ramping up the machine at the end. It's like, oh, well, you're definitely a villain by like torturing the poor guy. But I wasn't sure if she was like, is she trying to find out that he's still bad, or is she trying to turn him bad?
I'll tell you what that episode did do to me. The New Republic are fucking stupid, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to file a fax. We're going to use all your old stormtroopers and Imperials, and you're just going to destroy all your old secrets, and we're going to catalog certain bits. It's like, that's not the New Republic. That's not what fucking Luke fought for in Han. Jesus hell, that's bullshit.
It's still politicians, isn't it? Regardless of who is in charge.
Oh, and like I wanted to just like, you know, the bit where the guy just comes out from doing his interview and he's got them two like posh cunts.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to punch the screen at them. It's like they annoyed me instantaneously. They just instantly were like, "You are the biggest bell end award, right?" Used to.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to join the Imperials, but I don't know. Oh, it's like bang. Cool.
I did. It got to me, like Chris said, when the phone came out. I think at the exact time the phone would have come out for Chris, I was just like, I just shut, no joke, I just said out loud, "When's Mando coming back?" Like it was just so annoying. Like I thought it would be like, oh, here's the Doctor, oh here's Mando's up to, oh, and then here's Grogu, and then back to the Doctor again. No, it's a full half hour of this other episode of a different show that I didn't care about.
And all I really learned about is that guy likes Imperial biscuits.
Yeah, I like the yellow biscuits, and then he's tortured and maybe dead. But yeah. Straight away, Chris, your highlight if you've got one that isn't Mando.
Yeah, I thought, do you know what, I like the Oscar bandwagon, so I watched The Whale.
Right.
And it's nearly 2 hours of Brendan Fraser sitting down in a fat suit.
I was mentioning this the other day. I know The Whale is about Brendan Fraser and he's overweight. I don't think I've seen any. I know some people who are in it. I don't think I've seen them being in it. All I've just seen is just him sitting in a chair looking a bit sad. That's all I've seen about The Whale, and he won an Oscar. That
made me hungry because he eats a lot of good stuff.
Right.
Like, there's one like a brief spoil. Like he has like a heart-ish. Like he's a big guy. His heart's going to cave out. He thinks he's going to die, so wants to try and meet his estranged daughter and get a relationship going. But then every now and again, he's like, he gets really ill, he can't breathe, and he just turns around and looks at the counter and it's like, I want that KFC left over there, bring it over. Like his friend's like,
so we all want to go into it.
Yeah.
It's like his friend doesn't want to do it, but he's just like, I want my KFC.
I'll tell you what I've been put off of watching The Whale for, right? Is I've seen the advert, I think I've seen the advert, little trailer type thing for The Whale originally. I was like, this just seems like Kevin Smith's Tusk film, where like it's basically a guy that's a walrus, and I was just like, so this guy's just a whale then, but obviously he's not an actual whale. Whereas in Tuskie's an actual walrus type thing. But yeah, that's what put me off. Was like, yeah, it's just gonna be exactly the same as Tusk, and Tusk's not a great movie. I'm sure I'll be on this podcast at some stage.
Like,
well, exactly.
Like, as soon as you know what's gonna happen, like the first 5 minutes, you care what's gonna happen, you're just like super depressed. And The opening scene of him whacking off the gay porn just kind of,
Well, spoiler alert.
yeah,
Came out earlier.
Where'd that come
literally,
from?
like it's like a black screen. All you hear is the noises, and you're just like, what the fuck is that? And you just seen him try to jack off. You're like, oh for God's sake! And that's
Have I
why
got to the wrong film?
Well,
Is that-
in
that's
the
why
words
he
of James
really
Silent
dies.
Bob, that's an Academy Award-winning film right there.
So
That's what the Academy wants.
yeah.
yeah, it's a really depressing film.
Thumbs
But
up for Chris.
Is it good or not? Is
Eh.
it so depressing? Not good. Is that the?
I'd give it a thumbs up.
There you go. I knew that was coming. It's fucking depressing. It's long. It's a guy sending you a thumbs up from Chris.
Yeah.
Just Brendan
Fair
Fraser
enough.
doing his best acting.
I don't think I'll ever see it. I'm very happy that Everything Everywhere All at Once won a whole bunch of Oscars because I like that.
And that's gonna be one. Like I remember, I've always said in this podcast that I hate an Oscar-nominated, like winning movie.
Oh.
That's got to be like made it into like one of only 3 movies that I really enjoyed that's won an Oscar.
You mean like an important Oscar? Because obviously, like Maverick
Oh yeah,
Oscar this year for sound.
yeah, no, the best picture because normally they're artsy-fartsy bullshit films. This was
Yeah.
slightly artsy-fartsy and had reading, and I enjoyed it. So
Who's
it
the
shows
old
you-
guy in that again? I can't remember what it's called.
Pardon?
Oh, the
The
old
old
dude.
guy. He's
He
in
had a
Wayne's World 2.
He had a bow tie and he
Oh,
had a little
Yeah,
googly
but
eyes.
exactly, yeah, the googly eyes of it.
James Hong, I think.
That's it.
85 and still having fun at the Oscars.
Yeah. And yeah, I was glad that the acting ones went to them as well because what was it? I read something like 7 out of the last 10 best actor Oscars have gone to like people playing real people.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it was like as an actual character.
Well,
won
did you
some.
see Angela Bassett's reaction when Jamie Lee Curtis won Best Supporting?
No, I didn't see. No.
So Everybody like Angela
She was
Bassett,
nominated,
she is winning for Black Panther
Black
as a
Panther.
best acting, blah blah blah. And literally when they just like announce it, you can see that she's the only one ready to stand up. And then they just go Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's like, and it's literally just mouse it. It's just like, oh, and it's like the camera's right on her. It's fucking brilliant.
I
Yeah.
hope this is actually pals with Jamie Lee Curtis and she did that as like a joke. But if
Well,
not,
the thing
if she was
was,
really
like,
angry,
everybody kicked off obviously because obviously a black actress didn't win it. But there's one of my friends on Facebook who is a Jamaican black dude. He basically said it right, and basically it's like, well, no, like she's did basically the same role in first Black Panther.
yeah, basically, yeah.
She didn't get
both-
nominated for that.
Yeah.
She didn't really do much more. And as like obviously Black Panther is a very black film heavily, and he's like, I love the film, but she's acted no differently in it. Whereas Jamie Lee Curtis kind of has a fat suit on and playing a character that she's never played in her life.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
He's actually acting.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis drop kicking somebody through a wall. I mean, that not like
It's like that's proper acting, but yeah,
supporting.
Angela Bassett, obviously, she's played that role twice.
Yeah.
It'd be like Bruce Willis getting like nominated for Die Hard 2, but never getting anything for Die Hard 1. It's just it doesn't work, does it?
Righty-ho, we've talked too much about things we weren't going to talk about, so we better crack on with point number 1, the point of the podcast this week. The point this week, and point number 1, this has been brought to us by Disney Plus and Netflix combined, after everyone always complains about my categorizing of films. So this is all combined. The point this week, the 1992 martial arts military action adventure thriller Under Siege.
That sums it perfectly up.
Right.
Got it right this time.
Literally, according to Netflix, this is martial arts films and military films. That's the only thing this film was on Netflix.
What does IMDb categorize it as? It's
Oh,
like
I imagine action adventure. Probably
action adventure rom com or something like that.
wrong. Yeah. Something wrong, no doubt, for IMDb. Anyway, Under Siege, written by J.F. Lawton, who also wrote Pretty Woman, which is a bit of a random film to have come before this. Under Siege, Chain Reaction, and then DOA Dead or Alive, the video game
oh
adaptation.
no, that was awful.
That was all right.
So, it's some ups and downs in his writing credits. Does J.F. Lawton
Action thriller IMDb, by the way.
action
Nice.
thriller? Yeah, I guess
I'd
that's
accept that.
can't argue. Directed by Andrew Davis, who directed a few things, but these were the big 4 that he's famous for directing. Under Siege, The Fugitive, which would be his one, like his big acting deal, Chain Reaction, and then Holes from about 10 years after both of those, which is a...
Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, Shia LaBeouf's breakout, maybe, in films. First time I remember seeing him was in Holes,
Yeah.
anyway. They are people behind the film, people in the film. I've got our 3 main stars, starring as Chief Petty Officer Casey Ryback. And on that note, I had no idea anybody else in history was called Ryback other than the wrestler.
I think this is
Yeah,
what he's
right
named
back,
after.
brilliant.
Surely this is what he's named after. So this must be, because he clearly came first.
Oh, do you want an early fun fact?
Give us an early fun fact.
Ryback in Polish means fisher, which is Steven Seagal's mother's maiden name is.
Ah, right. It's a Polish. I didn't know it's a Polish name. Well, there we go. You learn something every week here on the podcast.
Don't worry, I got another fun fact later.
So as Ryback, we have Steven Seagal, and I've got a wee bit different here because I was compiling what's Steven Seagal famous for, and it's pretty much Under Siege and being like a weird martial arts guy.
So just being weird.
He's got a banging country album as well. I love his music. Honestly, God, you guys, he does country jazz type music. Fucking brilliant.
Right. Okay, that's a mixture. So upon looking through his filmography on IMDb, I have compiled a list here. Here is every one of the 54 films that Steven Seagal has been in. He's been in 54 films. Here's every one that has a rating of 6.0 or above on IMDb. And they are Above the Law, which was like his breakout role in movies. He was just a martial arts guy until that film. Out for Justice, Under Siege, Executive Decision, The Onion Movie, and Machete. That is all of the films that are 6.0 or above. None of them are above a 6.6. And that's Machete is a 6.6. So Steven Seagal does it to make good movies, is what IMDb is trying to tell me, and that's what we're going to determine on the podcast, whether it is. The Onion Movie is an outlier there. It seems to be different to the others. I'm not sure what it is, if it's a news parody thing like the Onion website or something or other. But yeah, there you go. Steven Seagal, martial arts guy, generally in bad movies. Co-starring as Billy Stranix, another name I've never ever heard before, after or since, Stranix. Tommy Lee Jones. Famous for JFK, The Fugitive, which I've already mentioned. Men in Black, the whole trilogy. I think he's in 1, 2, and 3. No Country for Old Men. Captain America: First Avenger, because that's what when I see him, I think of that film now. And Lincoln, and a whole bunch in between, but they are the big ones for
Space Cowboys. That's the
Space
one.
Cowboys.
Space Cowboys. There you go. I would never have said that. So there you go. Space Cowboys.
It's a banger.
I don't think I've ever heard of it. Never mind seen it.
What?
Get
Oh,
on the list.
that's on the list, Chris. Get on the list.
And our third star as Commander Krill, Gary Busey, who is most famous for just being Gary Busey, I would say.
With teeth.
If you look through his IMDb page, he plays himself in thing, not like the playing the role of self on talk shows, the actual acting as himself more than his characters and things. Famous for the Buddy Holly story, Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, which always gets a shout out on the podcast.
Oh fuck yeah, so yes.
Point Break, Under Siege, and The Firm. And yes, The Firm is the most recent thing he's famous for, and that's now about 30 years ago. So
that's because his son took over.
Yes, yeah, and he's just been.
He's also got really big teeth.
You know what? Yeah.
That's a strong genetic genius. Just
yeah. Should have been dentists rather than actors. On a budget of $35 million, Under Siege opened in the US for $16 million in its first weekend. Final US gross, $83.5 million. This film would never make that nowadays. Final worldwide gross, $156.5 million.
I'll take that.
That's the 92, 93 box offices for you, the kind of films that made
That's
a lot
Independence Day numbers, that.
Yeah. No wonder it got a sequel out of this, if it's making, what's that?
Which has one of the greatest movie moments in cinematic history in the sequel.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will come up at some point. Under Siege released 9th of October 92 in America. Wasn't until the 26th of February 93 that it came out over here. Big gap in between. Meant it qualified for the 1993 awards season, did Under Siege. And I had to be picked up off the floor when I found out Under Siege was nominated for 2 Oscars.
Yes! Here we go.
It was not that I'm saying it's good, bad, or otherwise. I just did not think the Academy would look at Under Siege. It's like, yes, Oscar. However, we did mention Top Gun earlier on. It gets Oscar nominated, and this is nominated for similar things. Nominated for Best Sound was Under Siege. It lost to Last of the Mohicans in 1993, and nominated for Best Sound Effects Editing. It lost to Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Gary Oldman Dracula, that one is. So it was nominated for 2, both sound and lost.
Robbed.
Not nominated for a Razzie in 1993 either. I thought Seagal might have had a look in, being the kind of guy that he is. But it was nominated for 1 award at the MTV Movie Awards of 1993. Nominated for Best Action Sequence, the helicopter explosion.
What?
So by action sequence, they mean Best explosion. Because there wasn't really
That was not a sequence, is it?
a guy fired a rocket and then it blew up. There you go. End of. It did not win, of course, because it was pretty naff, that nomination. Lost to Lethal Weapon 3, specifically Mel Gibson's motorcycle crash. Guess we have to watch the Lethal Weapon movies to
I
get
remember that. It's so memorable.
Yes, and in the 1993 Saturn Awards, this is not the kind of movie for the Saturn Awards, so no nominations at all for Under Siege.
Double Oscar nominated.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that.
Double Oscar nominated movie Under Siege. Synopsis: none of our usual contributors again.
Oh, Jesus hell.
But RCS, only going by initials, has written me a lengthy one that I have not even looked at. I just saw
Strap in, boys.
I saw a block of text and I thought I'm taking that. So, synopsis for Under Siege. The battleship Missouri is about to be decommissioned, spelt wrong. Casey Ryback is Captain Adams' personal cook. Was it called Captain? Right. It's got like someone called Adam, like Captain Adam apostrophe S. He is Captain Adams' personal cook, and Ryback is always butting heads with the ship's XO commander Krill, but the captain always intercedes. One day, after the president visits the Missouri, which is also the captain's birthday, the captain learns that a helicopter has been cleared to land on the ship by Commander Krill, which he was not informed of. When questioned, Krill tells the captain that it's a surprise for his birthday. Then the captain allows it. God, really detailed for that. Later, after another one of their scuffles, Krill has Ryback locked in a freezer. During the party, the rock band reveals themselves to be mercenaries led by William Stranix, spelt wrong, a CIA operative who is in league with Krill to unload all of the ship's nuclear warheads. They lock up all of the crew and make preparations to remove the warheads.
This guy's writing a novel. He's literally writing a new book on this film.
Yes. And Krill remembers Ryback. Stranix sends two of his men to take care of Ryback. Only thing is that Ryback took care of them. Upon discovering their bodies, Stranix deduces that Ryback is more than a cook. He then sends Krill to check on him, and Krill discovers that Ryback's a Navy SEAL, all caps, who got busted down to a cook after an incident in Panama. And Ryback, he always starts sentences with the word and. And Ryback continues to create trouble for them, so Stranix tries to hunt him down. Along the way, Ryback meets Jordan, a former playmate who was supposed to entertain at the party, but was also
20 minutes into the film.
I know. That's the end, though.
All right, good. Can I just do a better one? I'm going to go to IMDb right now and go Die Hard on a Boat.
I've read my synopsis for later on.
Die Hard on a Boat. Yes, Die Hard on a Boat. With heavy influences from Top Gun, as in it looks a lot like Top Gun, and it's like everyone knows what Top Gun and what being in the Navy is like now. So here's the boat stuff with a bit of plane. Yep. There you go. That's basically what the film is about.
I think he's banned. We need Claudio back. And
Nick.
Yeah,
there were the two. Who picked Under Siege? It was Chris. Why did you pick Under Siege, Chris? Why are you taking a big swig?
Panicking.
Because it's a film that I haven't seen for ages, and I always remember me and Andy talking about it. This one and the second one as well. But
second one,
absolute bagger.
So you're doing unfinished business. You're on the record, and your unfinished business here is you want to do Under Siege 2. Is that correct?
Carry, yeah.
Right.
I was going to do a Police Academy and do just a random.
Right. To start
sequel,
with.
Yeah. It's been on my list for ages, but I've always been hampered by themes. So my themes basically, I've got no theme this time. I'm just doing films that I've
told us you wanted to finish some business, but you're also starting some business as well.
Yeah,
unfinished and starting old business. Old lists.
Old business.
He's starting business.
Yeah. Had we seen it before? I had not seen this before.
What is wrong with you?
Watch it. No, I think I'd seen bits and pieces. Like you turn it on.
Poor childhood.
Here's Steven Seagal killing some people. Oh, I've had enough of that. I'll go watch something else.
It turns out I had never seen the start of this, and the classic Chris trope. Yeah. I had never seen why Ryback was thrown in the fridge.
He's always just been in that room from the beginning.
Yeah, I always starts off in a fridge. Him being guarded and him just walking about with this thing, and I was like, "Why is he there?" I always miss the start of this film.
It's definitely it starts at 8:20 on a channel, and your thing finishes at 8:30, so you come into it 10 minutes.
Pretty much.
Which channel would that be that it would start on at 8:20?
I would say ITV.
ITV? I guess we'll 8:20. It's more like 10 or whenever the news would finish, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this being probably one of my first vivid action films that I remember as a kid, because my mum and dad used to watch everything. And I remember Die Hard being on, but as I say, bits and pieces. Whereas this, I think, was the very first film that my dad had recorded, where and had to fast forward through the adverts and the old videotapes on ITV or whatever. So I vividly remember this film as being one of my first action films.
Action films that you.
Because my dad would say he likes his martial arts films and
Yeah,
stuff like
my
that.
mum was
He
the same.
loves,
She like
Steven
Van
Seagal.
Damme and Seagal because it's all like my mum was the same.
Martial art fans. Okay, which version did we watch? I opted for Netflix on this.
Oh, see, I
one.
went for Disney Plus.
Good. Okay. I think they're the same version, the exact same running time. I don't know if this is edited at all, Andy. You might be in the best position to tell us because you.
No, there was titties.
Right. Violence. Did people get like
Yeah.
chopped with the saw and
Yeah.
stabbed in the neck and the
Yeah,
head?
that was all on Disney Plus.
Cool. Because the UK VHS and DVD versions initially were censored for the violence.
I was going to say because I don't remember the meat scene being like as violent, so definitely not seen that version before.
Yeah, but it seems like the 1 hour 42 is blanket everywhere now on all the streaming services, and I imagine most recent DVDs. On to point 2 on the podcast, the high points. What we thought the best bits and things were. Chris, why don't you start us off?
Well, since I've never seen it, I'm going to say him getting thrown in the meat locker was a high point. Like, I'd always be like, why? Like, Krill was being a dick. He deserved to get punched, and I'll always say, like, him glue gun. This is a low point. Is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Is that because it's also Gary Busey?
Yeah, it's just when he goes. It's horrible.
Up at one of my, I had actually the previous visit to the kitchen where he sends like the underling, the guy who's in everything, the ginger guy.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen him
more
shower before.
Yeah, I liked that scene as well, but the Krill one's better because he fully sets him up as like, I am the villain because 1, he spits in the food, 2, he drops the other F-bomb, and then 3, just illegally locks up Ryback for no reason. It's like, okay, you are the bad guy. And I'm like, but Tommy Lee Jones is in this film somehow. How is okay, but I think you're the bad guy. It was
I really love that when Ryback's like punching everybody, he's like, do you know what? I could take the whole lot of his out. I'm just going to stop here. I'll be the good guy. You just
I did like that scene. Yeah, I'm done. I'm fine. Cool. But yeah, he's just fucking wiped out 5 of them.
Yeah.
See, my actual first high points actually before that, kind of like what you were talking about, Top Gun opening sequence, where it's like, Top Gun starts, you see the fighter jets flying around. This is like, sets up, here's a fucking massive ship. That is not CGI'd. And it looks fucking brilliant. It's like, all right, I mean, like that, they've got a real fucking ship here. And at no stage did I think that was on a set. It's like, no, this is a real set. It's a real boat.
When I was coming to nominate things I looked at best set and I thought, is it even a set or have they just filmed this on a boat? Like,
yeah, filmed on a boat.
Yeah, so I was like,
it was like a proper it wasn't called the Missouri because that was actually getting decommissioned at the time. It was another one. Okay. But it wasn't actually ever at sea. It was always docked.
Right, see, yeah.
So that was when you see it on the sea, that was one like footage. They had one shot where it was coming into port. So straight away a set up and I'm like, yep, this is a ship. I'm on a ship. I believe I'm on a ship. At no stage I did not think I was on a ship.
It does feel very. I don't know if it's quite claustrophobic, but it has its moments where it's like that. Another high point. Taking my early one.
Well, Krill's cut myself shaving always reminds me of the time the Karzy came to school, like a full-grown beard, and then left halfway during the day to go and shave his beard, and then came back with a massive chunk out of his cheek. Because we make fun of him, fucking hell, Karzy, go have a shave, and he came back with a massive chunk out the side of his face.
It was. I would say like Karzy was definitely one of the first people in our class to hit puberty, and just out of nowhere, just kind of like stubble like this. And it just went, and then we were all kind of like, all baby faced, all winding him up for some reason. It's like, oh, you and then he just went at lunchtime. He just came back with the biggest fucking slice of his face ever. So yeah, I know what Chris is saying about
that. I can't watch that. I'm saying, oh yeah, just cut myself shaving. I was like, that's Karzy.
That's our weekly joke for audience of 4 people. Know what you're talking about. I've completely lost of where this happens in the film. But when Billy, i.e. Tommy Lee Jones, has his first phone call to what I would call the war room, where all the generals are sitting, and he's sitting like with his microphone, just chatting to them. Tommy Lee Jones just ramped up to 100 out of 100. He's going full bore of I'm gonna have some fun making this daft movie. So that whole scene and just his sheer charisma, I really enjoyed actually the cast of characters around the table in the war room as well. The different admirals, and they're panicking because it's their agent, so they need to go on the phone to somebody, and then they're worried that Honolulu's going to get blown up. So I really like the atmosphere around this room. We're all hundreds of thousands of miles away, wherever the hell they are.
Can I expand on your point on Tommy Lee Jones and that stuff? I like that's probably one of the first films I'd probably like. I don't know many like films. I always say that this has been replicated and there's been a better version. I generally almost don't think there's been a better version of a bad guy that is homegrown USA. It's not like a foreign Russian intelligence coming in. It's just this was a US guy. He does exactly like what he's doing in the film is what he was paid to do. And then the USA tried to kill him, and he's like, "No, fuck that shit. I'm going to get my own back."
Yeah.
I love it's just a simple
I don't
revenge
think
plot. You try to kill me, you failed. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I know there's been a couple of films that done it, but this is just, I just think this done it perfectly. It's like, I cannot think of a film better where a guy just suddenly takes against the USA or his own country and goes, fuck yes.
There can't be too many films after this that have basically an all-white team of terrorists. Like just the way Hollywood went at the end of last century and then into this century, that they wouldn't cast a whole team of white guys being terrorists anymore. It depends when Die Hard with a Vengeance came out. That might be the last one, but yeah, seeing these, like you say, they were at least foreign, weren't they? But yeah, an American team of terrorists, they wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah. I also just like the idea of thinking, hey, US, we don't got the classified files, but we all know they're doing shit like that.
Yeah.
And what happens if one of your own guys turn on you? And it's like, well, Tommy Lee Jones is what happens.
That's what happens. They'll take a
don't try and take him out.
Yeah.
Well,
that was actually the other high point. That little tiny twist where like they're around the table and then it's like, what was the last job we sent him on? It's like, to get a Korean submarine.
Yeah.
What happened to the submarine? And then suddenly all years, bing, and it's like,
he sunk it. Are you sure? Yeah, we're absolutely positive. We are positive he sunk it.
It's fucking brilliant. It's just like, nice. That submarine came into play almost instantly. I also just like the random guy that Tommy Lee Jones is to hire. Like, he's not in a captain's uniform. He's just in his jeans and t-shirt.
A French guy? I think he was French.
Yeah. It's like he's pissed off with France. It's like, I used to do submarines. Yeah, you can come. Do you have to wear the uniform? Jeans and t-shirts, fine, mate.
Yeah. Do you have about 50 guys that also know how to operate a submarine?
Where did he get all these guys from?
Making his connections, I guess, when he was being the FBI's best killer. It does put Tom Hanks and Catch Me If You Can't to shame, really, when you think about it, what Tommy Lee Jones was up to. But so one of my small high points is I very much enjoyed Ryback's grenade booby traps everywhere. Because anytime he went into somewhere, booby trap the door with a grenade, or booby trap this helicopter with a grenade. I quite enjoyed him blowing it up.
It's going to come up in like the sequel, but I just love these MacGyver-ness of stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes me like looking around my house going, I can make a bomb out of that. How would Ryback make a bomb out of a candle and a thingamay?
Yeah.
But I was going to touch the last one, like Stranix. He's not an idiot. When like Ryback's running away, he goes, "Don't touch that door. He's gonna fuck you up," which he does. He blows you up.
When he screams over the balcony, he's like, "Don't do it!" Fuck.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a bad guy who's actually clever, who knows what he's doing.
I think in some ways his plan was too clever. Like at times, I struggled to follow what the actual, like they landed on the boat. And then I wasn't sure what they were doing for most of it. I don't fuck up on low points, so I don't want to harbour it too much. But yeah, he had a very, very deep plan. Also, I very much like, we see Tommy Lee Jones, obviously, we don't know who he is. I like finding out who he is and what he had done as the film, like, there's about half an hour of the film, and you find it more and more and more, and you're like, oh, this guy's actually pretty dangerous. And he knows things that he shouldn't know. It was a good reveal throughout. I've really only got one more actual high point, so you guys hit off some more.
I've got one that you guys are definitely going to say is a low point. But I love, right, and there's a reason for this. Right, there's a lot of gunfights in this film. Now, I love how shit they actually are. So I wouldn't say. So what I mean by that is not that they're shit. There's gunfire, but everybody looks like they can't use a gun. So you've got a Navy SEAL Ryback. Obviously, he says he doesn't like guns, but he's gunning down a corridor shooting. Like,
that's what I love. I like the infinite ammo just running like that. Just
right. So I'm okay with that. But like he looks terrified of the gun, and same with the bad guys. They're shooting. These are meant to be Marines, but they're all scared. However, I actually flipped that on its head, is because if I was in that situation, now I've fired guns, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So I don't care how many times you shot a gun, you don't stand there and just like don't flinch. Whereas every single one of these bad guys and even the good guys all flinch like fuck when they're firing the guns. But then when it comes, and it makes the high point even better, which is anytime he uses martial arts, and especially with that fight with Tommy Lee Jones with the knife, you just see his whole, it's like, that is just like, right, so he's shit with guns, but he is fucking amazing with hand martial arts stuff.
Nice, yeah.
And I just think it just elevates it how shit the gunfire is to when suddenly, right, guns are off, knives are out, knife fights.
So the thing is with the gunfights, I hate the converse, which is I hate when people shoot. It's like you're meant to be like a trained FBI agent, you're meant to be a trained killer, trained soldier. Why can't you hit anyone like Stormtrooper, that sort of stuff? So this one, pretty much every bullet anyone ever fires
yeah.
kills the person. It's like, oh, they're efficient killers. They might be
Yes.
scared of the guns, but they
Because
can point
like,
it.
well, ultimately, yeah, even her.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, you know, she's meant to be a blonde bimbo. Suddenly, she becomes like action queen halfway through this film. Like, well, I'm sure we'll get onto that. But like, point and shoot, that person's dead. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And she very much proves that. Like, guns are deadly.
Any more high points from you, Chris?
Yeah, Voodoo Child gameplay. It's used at the point where like they're at their absolute worst, like they're blowing up planes at the sky and they're doing other thing. And I'm sitting there and it starts doing the pew 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 pew, and I'm going, fuck, I'm celebrating the bad guys here.
Yeah. Like, to make another wrestling connection, they feel like a New World Order at that point.
Yes.
Then the New World Order used that theme music for a while, and I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, I can see there's a connection there. Bad guys that you just, yeah, they're the coolest and they're winning. It's like it suits it. And it plays for the right amount of time in the right context as well. It's a good use. I had the Power by Snap. That was my nominee until Voodoo Child came on. I was like, oh, no, I'm changing that. That's the best.
Yeah, me too. My actual last high point is Stranek asking the important questions of why didn't they hire Ryback to be part of their group?
Yeah, how did he slip through? Yeah.
Which, if you're going to segue straight away onto low points, I could bring up something on that one. So.
Well, I've got one more high point I'll hit,
Right,
which is I very much enjoyed Admiral talking to Ryback in the middle of the shootout, where Jordan answers the phone and then she gives it to him. Yes. The whole time he's just killing people was a really good scene of. And that's like that was the speech I read out.
And that's when then the intro comes in. Well, if you're going to think it, I'm just going to go. And it's brilliant because you don't see that once again. I've never seen a film where it's like, right, he's doing good, but you guys are all trying to stop and wait for support. It's like, fucking hell, we're just going to use you. The Marines are on their way anyway, but you're pretty good. Just carry on what you're doing.
Go ahead.
And then we find out the Marines are utterly shouting and get blown up anyway. So.
Well, that's coming up, trust me.
Well, I had my Delphi. I thought they sided with Stranix, but I must be thinking of a different film where the Marines come in and they're all like,
well, that's normally what happens.
Braveheart.
Yeah, when they all turn in, it's like, oh no, we're actually more reinforcements for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay, point 3 is the low points. Andy was chomping at the bit to go to it, so carry on, Andy.
So what Chris said with the whole like Stranix thing and that, what did you say, Chris? Use your words again.
Which one?
Your high point.
Him teaming up with why didn't they hire Ryback?
Yeah, right. So why didn't you hire Ryback? That actually annoys me because at one stage it's like, oh yeah, the cook Casey Ryback. They say it, and then Stranix is like, oh, so it's just a cook then? Yeah. And then it's like Casey, like he actually said the cook Casey Ryback, and then suddenly when they're down the final show, they're like, why didn't you hire this guy? And then it's like, oh yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know you too.
Yeah.
Casey Ryback. It's like, hey there. And it's right before the fight behind Bruce.
Yeah.
That Stranix 100% knows who he is. It's like, did you just forget his name, but you remembered his face?
Big tall guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're Casey Ryback. I'm the Panama, and now you're a cook. Why didn't I put that entire connection together?
Casey Ryback. Yeah. I was thinking of Joe Ryback.
Yeah. But every single time it annoys me this film because when I watched, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this end bit where he just, it's like you're an idiot. You know him. It's almost like he's just like, oh fuck him, he is a cook. Fuck him.
I've mixed my whole picking in the middle of all my low points, so I will pick up on all the things like Andy has spotted that I very much picked up on as we went through it. So we'll start with Chris's start of the film, which is Steven Seagal is in a freezer, basically. It is the least cold room I've ever seen in my life. Seagal is almost sweating. He's at the point just before sweating in this room, which is meant to be a freezer. And it's like they don't even pretend that it's cold in there. There's no breath. There's no even anything frozen in the background. It's cold in here.
Well, knowing Steven Seagal and being near him when he's been at an event, I pretty much reckon he went into the director going, are you fuck making this cold? Like, this will be warm. I will cook the meat rather than cool me. That's what we're doing here. But then the same scene, later on, there's a big fucking massive air duct that he can hide up in. Yeah. Why didn't he just get it? Surely that air duct's connected to an outside because it's so big. It's not like a sealed box.
The entire time he was mocking the old, like the newbie outside, he just could have been climbing in that and Bruce Willising it outside.
We all know air vents are huge, clean things that you can get out of.
Especially if you're 6'5" or whatever Steven Seagal is.
Yeah.
I've got one more early high point I'll hit and I'll throw it out.
Low point.
Why does Krill dress up as a woman?
I don't know. And it really does creep me out.
So I came up with the premise that maybe he wants to distract from his involvement. There's no way I can be involved because remember, I was dressed as a woman a minute ago, so I'm not involved with the bad guys. But it makes him look like he's absolutely mental. Which then
Yep.
the next scene is the "Do you think any psychological evaluation scene?" Is like, you definitely do, but I don't know why you dressed up like a woman.
I mean, it does add to the fact that this man is a nutter.
Yeah.
Well, like what you said, kind of in the high point. He's like, you're setting him up for a nutter. Like, one, he's like thinking, you think Tommy Lee Jones is the bad guy, but this guy's quite clearly the bad guy. And then you give him a name like Krill on top. It's like, well, Krill's never been good in any
No.
film ever. That's always a bad guy name.
Yeah. But yeah, I could not find a reason why he wanted to be the centre of attention at the party. That he's just about to take over the boat. Just go kill the captain and get on with it. It was daft.
I don't understand how none of them got court-martialed. I obviously they're on the boat, but like everybody broke protocol. Like nobody's like the helicopter. You have to speak to the captain. He's not going to allow it.
I think they kind of allowed that because it was it was getting decommissioned. It was the last day or whatever. Everybody's going retirement. I think that's what you do. You just have a bit of fun on a nuclear boat, don't you?
I thought the boat was still going. I thought they were just getting rid of the warheads, weren't they? Maybe I missed that point of the story, but I don't want to argue too strongly.
My actual low point is how did an entire boat of Navy troops get taken over by 15 or 30 mercenaries?
Yeah, I think it was 30. He gave a number.
The entire boat could just bum rush them and
yeah, especially at the party. It's like, oh yeah, okay. I don't know how all 30 of them were not in that room, being the band.
Nope.
So okay, they had a bunch of guns, and then everybody at the party was just like ran away from the half dozen band members.
Nobody likes guns in that boat.
Nope.
I absolutely knew Tommy Lee Jones because I hadn't seen it before. I knew Tommy Jones was going to shoot the highest ranking officer in the room. Like I was like, nobody own up to it because he's just going to kill you. I just at the same time I was thinking, but why aren't all these soldiers just going to kill him? But he's definitely going to do it. So it was.
Well, kind of going back onto the bad guys thing. Why, like, Tommy Lee Jones pretty much had a pretty good flawless plan. Why does the ultimate part of his plan fall down when he hired a playmate cover girl or whatever, and she genuinely had, like, all the way through the film, I always remember, like, even watching it again, I was like, she's part of the team. Why didn't you just hire, like, her to be part of the team, and then literally we just stop Ryback straight away? But she generally seems to have no, like, knowledge, and she, like, all the way through the film, and then even get to the end, it's like, no, she was just a bimbo all the way through. Why did you hire her?
Speaking of our high points, obviously for Erica Laniak, whatever you call her, she's a high point. But there's actually no. Why did they have to have a Playboy playmate on the helicopter?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because,
why did we get?
Oh yeah, Miss July '89's coming, but then just she's not. Yeah. She's not here. Who would have actually noticed?
Yeah, and I'm basically saying like she was ill because obviously she was ill. And then took too many sleeping tabs. She is generally a high point because I think like her being a bimbo then coming to a badass straight away. There's questions about that, but I would say ultimately her badass stuff is like good. But she took too many sleeping tablets, then managed to climb into the cake.
I think she climbed in first. Yeah,
well, you know what I mean. But then she fell asleep, and then it was only when the music came out did she instantly start dancing. Did the music wake her up, or was she just waiting for her cue for an excessively long time?
I thought kicking the cake was what startled her, and then she starts the music when she dances.
Right. Okay.
Because he tells her stop the music. So,
right.
But yeah, you're right. Why is she like, oh my god, oh yeah, I'm meant to be dancing. Like, surely the party's still waiting for me here.
Like, if nothing happened, she's still sitting there like 3 days later going,
yeah,
when are you going to play this music?
I've never like experienced jumping out a cake myself or being around when somebody's jumped out a cake like that. But I'm always sure there's some kind of like the cake gets wheeled in, there's a big countdown, there's a lot of ruckus, and then you jump out. But yeah, she just generally like, fuck, I've missed my cue, I'm going to start dancing
now. Still very early with another one of my high points I wanted to hit on.
Low points,
thank you. Glad you're keeping track of these things here. It's hard to get lost. So the guys who are relieving the young rookie who's guarding Ryback are like ninjas. They sneak up to him without him noticing. They're very precise and efficient when they question, where's Ryback? Oh, he's over there. Okay, we'll kill him instantly. Okay, that's him at the question. And right, we know he's in here. And they open the door and just go rat-a-ta-ta-ta-ta, rat-a-ta-ta, rat-a-ta-ta-ta, and just blindly shoot everywhere and anywhere in this fridge that obviously he's hiding in a vent at this point. What happened? Like, what changed about these two killers?
You know what? They all need their money back for their silencers because not one of those silence weapons was actually quiet.
Yep.
It had the opposite effect.
Yeah, I had to get that in because I was just like, these are really good bad guys. They've got to do really well. Steven Seagal's going to really have to pull his finger out to kill them. Like, but then at that point, I was like, oh god, right, they're as bad as everybody. My next high point is an hour and 10 minutes. Low point.
Chris, what's happened to you, Bruce?
An hour and 10 minutes is my next one. So if you've got any other early ones,
I don't know, like my only other kind of low point is a kind of gripe, and it's kind of like of the what I'm going to call the Street Fighter peril, which is when you get everybody in a hold and you're about to kill them all, like Street Fighter style. That seemed like we've got this great plan. We'll put them all on a hold. Great. All right, Ryback's around. We'll flood it, and he's going to have to come to us. That plan seemed to have got foiled almost 5 minutes later, and then everybody's out.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Here you go.
I never felt at any point that Ryback was trying to save the rest of the crew on the boat.
Oh, he didn't give a shit, but he just
He got to the one room with his pals in it, and he saved them. And then, all right, now we've got 6 people. Now we can take down all of these terrorists, basically. So my 1 hour 10 minute low point. At that mark, 1 hour 10 minutes, Ryback kills the same guy twice in a row. As in, he shoots a mustachioed man, and he falls A/T backwards down some stairs, landing on his head.
Oh, yeah.
And then Miss July runs up and goes, the safest place on this ship is right behind you. And then chat. They then move forward into the same room. Ryback turns, shoots the mustachioed guy, who falls down the same set of stairs in the same fashion from a different camera angle. And I'm like, what the hell's happening here?
I didn't even notice that. I've never noticed that.
It was the moustache was the giveaway. I was like,
maybe
that
he's twin.
Died. It could be, but I was like, I wound it back.
J. Mario.
He goes like completely upside down at the same point in the same way as it goes down the stairs. Like, how did nobody notice? This is the exact same stunt.
I'm not noticed, so there you go.
It was about
30 odd years on, still cruising.
It was amazing. I'll do my one other goof that I noticed. Stranix gets the submarine's code name wrong. They only ever mention the code names twice in the film. At the beginning, the submarine is Tweety Bird, and he is Roadrunner because meep, they can't catch me or I'll never be caught. Yeah. And then blah blah blah, is Coyote around? No, we're safe from Coyote. That Coyote will never catch us. And then later on in the film, the only other time they mention it, Stranix goes on the radio and goes, "Coyote, are you there?" And the submarine's like, "Yeah, what's happening?" So like you had one job, keep 2 code names correct in the script, and they managed to completely mess it up. So that's my other goof. I have one other major low point I want to mention, but
this is my last one.
Well, you have a few then.
It's the end fight between Ryback and Stranix. Like visually, it was quite cool. Like Andy was saying, all the hands going like that.
I thought they were hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's what you do. That's Seagal.
You keep them guessing. You can keep them guessing. Like Stranix killed 2 assassins single-handedly, but he can't even scratch. Well, no, sorry, he scratches his upper eye.
Yeah.
But it seems like a bit out. You seem a bit out-knifed.
Out-knifed. It was out-knifed. It's funny how they just randomly both have knives at that point to have a wee knife fight with. But yeah, it made me laugh. I did not necessarily. It wasn't a high point. I'll give you that much. Andy, any more low points from you?
No, I think I'm done.
So my final low one I need to hit on. What the hell was the plan with the SEAL team? They took no steps at all to prevent them being shot down. Because, like, worst case scenario, best case scenario, there's a bunch of terrorists in charge of a boat. We'll just fly our helicopter and land on the boat. There are massive guns on the boat. These terrorists are controlling it. They're just going to shoot you down. Now, luckily for the helicopter, all the stuff had been taken out by our good guys in the boat. But they didn't know that on the helicopter. So they just get shot down anyway. It's like, they claimed, they're trying to fly under our radar. So they even messed that up as well. Obviously, they detected them on the radar. So this amazing 30-man, whatever it is, SEAL team that were coming, 18, 20 or something like that, I think it was on the helicopter. It's like, just an absolute shambles of professionals.
Well, maybe that's why like Ryback got made into a cook. Maybe that's what happened in Panama as well. It's like he was like, "We can't fly a helicopter in here, mate. They're going to get us." And then they did it, and all his team died except for him because he didn't get on that helicopter.
I did love that there was no like counter measurements, and they're flying. And went, "Oh, there's a rocket. Oh, we're fucking done for, aren't we?"
Yeah, exactly.
There's no like moving out the way. It was just like, "Sorry, lads, we're done for."
Yeah, and it was nominated for MTV Movie Awards. 2 very minor hit on at the end. I've seen enough films to know you don't say 5 over the radio. They're reading the code out to stop the bomb at the end. You always say 5-er. You don't say 5 because it sounds like fire. So that's another problem.
And
then-
blew my mind that. I didn't realize that.
You ever watch? It's like Niner as well comes up a lot, but Fiver and Niner. Did Miss July join the Navy at the end?
I think so.
It looks like she's standing there with a uniform on at the funeral and all that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the only clothes they had, but she seemed like
Maybe she's an honorary person.
She-
'cause she
yeah.
has
Definitely changed like from Miss July to instant action hero straight away.
G.I.
G.I.
Mid-film.
Jane.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And that's us for low points then.
Yeah.
Right.
G.I. Jordan, that's her name. That was even better.
G.I. Jordan, yeah. Cracking on with stats. I counted 14 shits. The internet said 18, so I may have missed some. I did nail the F-bombs. 9 there were in the film, all equally placed out. I think Colm Meaney got a couple of them. He got good swearing. 25 explosions. They didn't do too many of the boom, 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 like saying the same thing. It was usually you got 2 of every explosion. Deaths. I got 86. But the internet has a reasonable, accessible database on this sort of stuff, and they say exactly 100 deaths.
Oh.
That's how many there is. So I may have just not counted.
Maybe
Some.
there's a few dolphins that got killed.
Maybe there's a lot of scenes. You talk about Seagal with these double guns. Just
Yeah.
shoot down. You don't actually see what he's shooting at, so I don't know if he killed anybody just by shooting, firing bullets down. Our usual quotas are very tough because the whole film's at sea, so there's no cows, goats, or dead animals unless there were some of the dead bodies.
Dolphins.
And no paedophiles either, which we've managed to swear for the first time in forever. The Tackleberry trifecta, where you can try and be like Tom Cruise, and if you run, get the girl, and ride a motorcycle in the same film, it's the trifecta. Ryback runs hilariously. He doesn't run a lot, but when he runs the helicopter, he's like kind of very small steps as he's running, and he well until he gets the girl at the end, but no motorbikes on the boat.
So to be fair, a boat's better than a motorbike.
Maybe did he drive the boat? I don't know if he necessarily drove the boat at any
You got a point.
But then, of course, you ride a motorcycle and they rode the boat, maybe. I don't know. Either way, a couple of extra bonus stats. This film is set, if I'm to be trusted, on when the Pearl Harbor attack happened. 50 years after it was the 50th anniversary. So this is set on the 7th of December 1991 is when the film is set. It was actually George Bush, wasn't it? Like, they must have
Yes.
somehow filmed a thing he was at and put it into the film, which I thought was quite nifty, that it wasn't like a CGI or green screened or spliced in. It actually was him doing it. The microwave bomb was cooking for 16 minutes of the film. So I'm not sure what the science behind this thing was, that it takes exactly 16 minutes for his concoction. Because a microwave, in my opinion, quite a powerful thing. I don't think I've ever had to cook anything in a microwave for, what, even 10 minutes? Even if it's like a frozen thing, it's rarely 10 minutes.
2 jack of potatoes, that's going to taste.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But 16 minutes for his concoction to blow up is quite a strange amount of time. And I thought I'll do one last one. How long was the film under siege? The film is called Under Siege. How long was it under siege? Well, the siege starts on the 21st minute, and I think the siege is over when they blow up the final missile, which was at 1 hour 36. So the siege was active for an hour and 15 minutes. So most of the film. Yeah, good chunk of the film is actually under siege. And did they say the thing? Did they say under siege?
No.
They didn't. They may have sneakily snuck it in, but usually my ears prick up when they say the thing, so I didn't hear it. Chris, any stats from you?
I've got a random stat. Video rental shops had to keep replacing their copies of this film because people kept wearing the copies out, reminded to see Jordan come out the cake.
For goodness sake. Before the internet, of course.
Yep. So that's where the stat. There's nothing. I don't know what else to count. Like,
yeah,
people hiding under things.
That was one siege.
I know.
Unless you count the submarine, there might have been 2. I don't know. Andy, do you have a random fact for us?
Oh, another random fact is that this film actually delayed Die Hard 3 by almost 2.5 years.
Really?
Because originally the third Die Hard was going to be pretty much this story, which was going to be Die Hard on a boat. And once this film came out, they were like, "We have Die Hard 3 script written. Shit." So they had to go back into 2 more years before they it'd be another year of rewriting the scripts before they filmed Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favourite, so I'm happy they did.
So yeah, the Under Siege basically created Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Good. Well done, well done.
That's another plus for this film.
Yeah. Who's the writer? J.F. Lawton. Well done for
Yeah.
stealing Die Hard on a boat. On to point 5 on the podcast, the 10-point podcast quiz. Hopefully it's not boat horns.
I was going to say, that's the sound of a boat.
Right, well, we're going old school. It's a simple quiz about Under Siege.
Okay, this is usually when Chris beats me even then, because I don't know if I've won a quiz this season, so I need to really try
So
hard.
here we go. Right, so who wants to go first?
Bruce went first last week, so is it me?
Okay, Chris, we'll start off easy. What is the number on the side of the Navy vessel?
63.
It is 63, correct.
Oh god, I'm gonna lose so much.
I made a note of that scene that it was just
I
it's
just
been
don't
more
do
than
that.
once, so I made a point of remembering that.
Right.
I used to do that. I used to write down things like that. I'd stop doing it after a while.
Bruce, how many stripes is on Krill's ranking? So on his shoulder, how many stripes does he have?
Is it 4?
No, it will get thrown over to Chris.
I was going to say 3.
It is 3.
That's what I was gonna say. I changed my mind.
Yeah,
That was
Admiral
a
had,
pure
Admiral
guess, I
had
would-
4. Krill had 3. Chris, how does Ryback hit?
It hits like a girl.
No, Bruce.
Hiya!
Oh no, I know what he's okay, I'm not saying it, but I know what
Chris, do you want to say it for me? What's the answer, Chris?
he hits like a faggot.
Yes, he
Oh, right. Okay, you were fishing for that, were you?
does. I was fishing and set up Chris either way, so that's fine. Bruce, what type of aircraft do the entertainment team arrive on?
It's a helicopter.
I want a specific.
One with 2 rotors.
what would you call that?
Is that a Chinook? I don't
It is
know.
a Chinook. Yeah.
Hey!
Chris, what color bandana does Tommy Lee Jones's character wear?
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh shit. Blue? Oh, it's in a picture behind me, it's blue.
Ah, brilliant.
Right behind me, like,
That question worked.
Grace is going, I can't see it.
That question worked way better than I thought it would. Bruce, how many men can Kate and Ziggs handle?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, they couldn't handle 1, but could they handle 20?
I need more.
What is it? Is it more than 20, or it's they could handle 20 Navy SEALs or something like that? Then
You got better, right, Chris? Do you want to steal the point?
Could handle 20 cooks.
The actual answer was they can handle 20 Marines and 100 cooks.
Oh,
right, okay, fair enough.
Chris, what type of aircraft is sent to look for the chopper?
an F-42.
No. Bruce.
F. Is he barking up the right tree? Like it's not.
He is
up-
barking. Yes,
right,
he is
it's
barking.
not. An F-45.
No, it was an F-18.
Ah!
Old school. Bruce, how many men does Ryback estimate are on board? As in bad guys.
Well, I know how many it is.
How many does he estimate?
30.
Correct. He gets a bang on.
Maybe that's where I counted it from, but yeah.
Chris, what is the code to deactivate the Tomahawk?
I had a 5 in it.
If he gets this.
I mean, I'm just going to retire, I think, if he gets this.
I want to say 50012.
Not even close. Bruce,
It started with a 4.
it did start with a 4.
Oh, yeah. Second number was a 4.
Yeah, the actual code was 634500.
So they wouldn't have said 5, I don't think.
I knew there was
It's
2 zeros in it.
And Bruce, I don't know what the score is, but you're
if I get this right, it's a tie. If I get
all
this
right. What is the name of the vessel they're on?
All right, okay. It is the USS Missouri. In
It
film.
is.
Did I get
Right,
a draw at that?
All right, we'll go to sudden death.
Oh, okay.
Whoever shouts the answer out first will get a point.
But just
If-
the answer, or do we have to shout our names?
Just answer. Just the first person I hear shout out the right answer, I'm going to give the point to. What is the name of the crewmate who carries out the repair on the submarine?
Oh.
Krill.
Nope. He does carry it out, but there's another guy with him. What is his name?
I've got the cast list here, so let's see.
You can cheat all you want. All you have to do is to shout out the answer.
Who has a name down here? Luigi.
It's Luigi.
Hey!
Bruce wins.
He's so far down the cast as well.
He's just the angry guy, just the Italian guy. Luigi.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Bruce gets a win.
My God, I pulled that out somewhere. I think I kept score correctly there. I'll check at the end of the season. But yeah, I finally got a win. I feel like it's been forever since I won one.
Actually, because I called shenanigans a couple of weeks ago.
You always call shenanigans and still win.
I know.
Exactly. On to point 6, movies within movies. Chris, I've not done a deep dive, but have you got the 10-point podcast universe for us here?
Quite a short list this week. Dale Dye, who was Captain Garza, whoever that one is, he was in Starship Troopers as a general.
I had that one, yeah.
There's Tom Reynolds, who was, again, somebody called Wave. He was in Face Off as an LAPD cop.
Oh, I missed him.
Troy Evans, who was Granger, he was in Demolition Man.
As tough cop.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't narrow it down necessarily.
And lastly, this one blew my mind because I recognise his face, but Damien Chapa, who was Tackman, he was in Street Fighter as Ken.
Is it?
Yeah,
I missed.
I don't remember him.
I'll tell you what, we came close. You came close to being back-to-back Katherine Heigl, though.
I know. I was until I googled the second one. I recognised she was in it.
Yeah, it's so close, Chris.
Okay.
We almost had back-to-back.
Oh, I wouldn't be back to back because we did Scream last week.
Yeah, near enough.
Whatever.
Really back to back.
Season back-to-back.
Season's not bad, yeah. Have you recast us into the film, Chris?
I did. If you're taking like Bruce is like the lyrical genius, then I'm putting you as Stranix because he.
That took Stranix for me as well.
I put Andy as the muscle of the group, so he was. I seen him as Dahmer.
I did that as well.
And I'm the wild card, so I'm Krill.
I went Nash, the rookie guard for you. I felt like we would kill you, I think, in this scenario. But yes, fair enough. I meant to mention earlier on, the guy who's straight out of the Die Hard team, the blonde guy with the specs who does a lot of the technical stuff, he died in like the most anticlimactic way. He seemed like he was like certainly the 5 most important bad guys in the film. And it's just at some point, it's like, oh, the machine's not working. Okay, go defend us. He runs onto a balcony and then just gets shot, possibly not even by Steven Seagal. Yeah. And that's him. He's just done. I'm like, I like that guy. I wanted him to get either a good death or a bad death, if you know what I'm saying, like a bloody death. But yeah, he just, you're dead. Oh, I don't even know what his character name is to find him or anything like that. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that. A few questions that the film's always raised. Could this film have come out in 1995? Chris, I'm sure you've got an answer for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
when's the second one come out? I can't remember.
1995. So yes, it very much did come out in 95 as well. Dead Man Walking, Krill, absolute certainty. Like even before he dressed up like a woman, I was like, nah, you're the villain, you're dying, because Steven Seagal wouldn't let this film
cop. I thought the guy guarding Ryback, he was definitely going to die.
I wasn't sure. I thought he might be. Come on, kind of geeky buddy who doesn't know what he's doing. You and I will save the day. I thought there'd be like a trio of them two and Jordan would be like the 3 to save the day, but he didn't last. He got killed. Who's in the wrong movie? A couple of nominees. Like really, Tommy Lee Jones kind of is in a different movie. Like you could have done this just with Krill taking over the ship. Really,
if he acted like that, he is. Well, back in that day, he would be the perfect for Mick Jagger biopic.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But I've went with Erica Eleniak because she's kind of not in this film for about half an hour. And then she just tags along. And her story arc is, there's one thing I'm never going to do, and that's kill someone. And at the end, I killed someone. And that's what her character does.
And she was fine with it as well.
Yeah, and joined the Navy afterwards. So I think she's kind of in the wrong movie. Tommy Lee Jones was my front runner for a while. But yeah, I'd have to go with her. Movie tropes that are in this film we want to see die. You've both kind of touched on this one way or another so far, so I'll just lead off with mine. Okay, I'm going to let you break that rule this one time, which is, we'll let the helicopter land, that'll be fine. Or, yeah, Ryback, you're not following orders, but you seem to be doing quite well, carry on. It's like, there are rules. Yes. Rules are meant to be followed, not broken. So, it's like, guy, this one, it'll be fine this time, and it never turns out well, hence the helicopter thing. So what tropes have you guys come up with?
Mine's is a pretty good one. And it is the ultimate classic, so we have to end the tropes here.
Right.
It's bad guy with good guy kind of knocked out, telling the plan
Yeah.
to such a degree that Tommy Lee Jones goes, I have the codes right here that I'm going to put in my back pocket to stop the tomahawks. Let's have a fight now. I'll let you up. It's like, don't tell your entire plan to somebody and then show them where the codes have gone.
The worst bit with him is he had to drop him. Casey's like looking around. He's like standing at the door. He just went bang, done.
Yep.
Game over.
It's villains like what do you call them? Stranix that led to what's the guy Watchman called? The guy who he sets up his big. Here's the good guys coming to try and stop me, but I've actually already done it.
Exactly.
Done.
Yeah, because of this sort of film is the reason he did it like he did.
Yeah, it is one of them ones that it's in so many movies. Just stop, the bad guy. Stop explaining what you're doing.
I blame Goldfinger. He's the reason. It might be the first. On to point 7. That one thing. The one thing this film has that it has, the one thing that's most famous about this, most bestest about this thing. I'll let you guys lead because I'm going to go with a counter to what you guys say. So on you go, Chris. I see you chomping at the bit for your one thing.
The homemade bombs. I always remember this. Like,
we're going to go. What about you, Andy? What's your one thing?
Steven Seagal.
My God, neither of you went with what I thought you were going to go with. I went with Tommy Lee Jones. I thought he was really good in this. This charismatic sort of.
Oh, this is like I would say like Tommy Lee Jones. I think has done better films. But Steven Seagal, this is his apex.
It really is.
It doesn't get any better, and this is his pinnacle. I will always remember this film for Steven Seagal.
Other than that one video on YouTube where it's like a martial arts exhibition and like 20 guys, I guess students in a row, are all attacking Steven Seagal, and he just kind of goes, and they all, they do a flip, and he's like just
apparently he actually nailed somebody there. Like you just look at like people are norms just like that, whack through a wall or something.
Not in this video.
Not in this one. This is people getting paid to bump, I think. No fighting happening whatsoever. Point 8 on the podcast is our nominations for the 10-Point Podcast Awards.
Rattle him, Chris.
Chris always leads off and we argue with him.
This is a contention one because I'm saying best actor was Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes. I went that way as well.
Okay, good. I thought you might have said best supporting.
He's in it a lot, so I'm going with it.
Okay, good. I'll say he's most underused. No, best badass, Casey Ryback.
Yeah, he still is. Yeah, despite us making fun of him, he's definitely the best badass.
Biggest bell end was Krill.
Yep.
Best villain was Stranix.
Yep.
Okay.
It's on a roll.
You can contend this one, but for me, the best death was the old MacGruber throat rip.
Oh yeah.
So
I like the meat grinder one, but my ultimate favorite one is the guy that gets impaled off the balcony in classic Spike.
3 mentioned. Ryback with knife and his ninja skills versus the metal workers, which is the one you mentioned with the guy getting chopped and all that. And then a guy's just been impaled with a beam. Andy just mentioned. That was amazing. But I have at the end, he's just pulled out a guy's throat in a slap. Because they were just like, just slapping each other, and he just goes, and takes his throat off. So,
have you watched MacGruber?
I have, a long time ago. But
just the heads of course, you're just ripping people's throats out. It's like,
well, I would go with the throat then.
I think it has to be. I think it's the throat one mainly because it's just. It was so
there's like no effort. It's just like glued to his hand. Like,
yeah. But the guy getting the girder right through.
It was pretty frantic, that one.
Yeah, that's the runner-up.
Stupidest character was the guard. Guard and Ryback.
Well, no, I'm going to actually I didn't know where to fit him because I was going to go for like worst, like kind of henchman, which I was going to pick up a new category. But Colin Meaney. Now, he hired this elite special force. He seemed to be like Stranix's right-hand man. He hired everybody. One, didn't know who Casey Ryback was, which, like I said, you should have hired him.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, you think, right, he sent all his goons out. They're all shit. Here he goes. He's going to get involved. He's going to be the best of the best and just get shot in the back and dies. Pretty fucking useless.
Again, maybe I don't know if he's stupidest character here. Maybe he is worst. Do we have worst villain? I guess he could be worst villain. Really?
Yeah.
He was definitely a bad guy, so maybe go for him for that.
Okay.
Stupidest character though, you could have the guard. I don't have any nominees, but yeah, the guard, I guess. Yeah.
My best inanimate object was the microwave for the bomb.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
I don't know what else to put for that.
No, me neither.
I would say the cake.
Maybe I thought about the cake, but it's a bit rubbish, really. The cake.
It does look
more. It's kind of. It's more. It's inside.
It's content.
Is this the best plan? Like Stranix's thing?
I left plan blank.
See, it's almost best plan, but I would say it's best revenge. plot. Like,
Oh,
this is
definitely.
genius.
Good revenge. I thought you guys might pick up on the plan at some point. His plan seems to be we'll very smartly take over this boat. Then we'll spend all night building a crane on this boat.
It did seem like you've got 30 guys. Surely you could just lift
How heavy
them.
are nuclear bombs? Like,
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, surely you can just lift them out.
Yeah. Like if you've got, like, say 30, surely 10 on each side of the one bomb.
And also, did they know all that scaffolding was there? Like, because obviously
Yeah.
they didn't bring that in the
They
helicopter.
didn't arrive with it, no. Unless it's in the
It's
cake.
like the Marines just walk like they're tripping over. Who the fuck left us girder here for no reason?
I tell you what, the band's equipment must have been heavy with all these girders going in. It's the
was
stage, mate. It's the stage.
There was one really confusing bit as well, where our good guy team is walking down a corridor, and then Ryback starts pointing to like a thing on the roof, and it's like, that's how they're doing it. They're using this or something like that,
Yeah.
and he's just pointing. I'm like, what's he talking about? They're building a
points to the
crane
girder.
out.
No,
What's
so the
that?
girders, they were all for the corridors as well. They were
So
all
the-
throughout.
Ah, right, okay.
I'm assuming that was to counter the weight, or was that to like move the bombs?
No,
to go
I
off?
think they had like little sliding clips. So I think what they're planning on doing is somehow manhandling it up onto the hook and then pushing it through the corridors into the crane to go into the submarine.
So this bomb, they need a crane to get off the ship. We're just gonna lift it into this thing,
Yeah,
and then we'll
slide
get
it along the
crane,
corridors.
and then the crane can lift it off because it's really heavy
Whereas I reckon 30 guys can just lift it and just drop it into the sub.
into the hole in the sub.
Yeah.
Bang! Well, there's a lot of blanks here. Best set, I'm going to say the ship.
The ship
We'll
was
go
good.
for it. Yeah, it's an actual ship. But I
Yeah,
guess it counts as-
can't be an actual prop.
My Daddy John Jules award goes to Tuco Salamanca because I've literally just been watching Breaking Bad.
When he popped up, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Tuco!" And I was like, "Chris has just watched Better Call Saul. I have to nominate him." So yeah, he's my baby. He probably is the only unexpected. Everybody else, I'm kind of like, "Oh yeah."
I see. Like mine's, I don't know who that is. Your guys are talking about, but mine's is Thingy Morshaw, Glenn Morshaw, who's a colonel general and everything. The ginger dude.
Yeah, the ginger guy. Yeah, but then
That's not unexpected. He's in everything.
yeah,
Well, he is now, but not back then.
Yeah, Tuco was a good one because Tuco's actually in some other stuff that might come up on the podcast when I was researching him. Raymond Crew.
Yeah.
He's like the first. He's like the smaller chef that works with Steven Seagal, and he's in Breaking Bad.
In fact, yeah, he's in a film that will come up in a while.
Here we go.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's like,
My Michael Penny award was the brief history lesson at the start explaining the Missouri.
oh yeah, I guess so.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
suppose
don't know.
so. Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Best entrance was Stranix coming through the corridors, like being all nice and nicey.
Come on, Andy. There's a better entrance, is there not?
Well, that's an exit though. She exits the cake.
No,
but
that's our appearance. That
She
is,
enters the party,
she
or
enters the room. That is the best.
Jordan's
Yeah.
the best entrance.
Well, that's the
sorry.
best exit in my thing.
Nope, best
She
entrance.
exits the cake.
Exactly.
No, she's appearing in the room. That's
Yeah.
the best entrance.
Best song, Voodoo Child, hands down.
Yeah.
Best costume was Jordan's lack of costume.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought that she wasn't actually have enough clothes on for it to be a costume.
It
but
wasn't. She
fair
had a
enough.
little top on.
Fair enough. And I had to have a hat as well.
Yeah. Well, sailor's outfit.
Maybe probably Jones's is quite. I quite like his outfit.
Well, his forever changing. 1 minute it's a leather jacket, next it's a jumper.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw that as well, but he did take the jumper off and he had the t-shirt on underneath. So I think he was t-shirt, jumper, leather jacket was his full outfit, and then when he gets hot, he puts certain
I'll tell you what. Best casual wear behind Bruce. On Steven Seagal just wearing a hoodie. It's like,
If I was a movie star, that's what I would guess.
wear a hoodie. Fuck it. I'm not wearing any outfits.
Pair of jeans as well, of course.
Yeah. He definitely just came out of his trailer just going, forgot the costume.
Yeah, I
We're just
can't
wearing
do
this now. That's
Where do
it.
you want me? Where do you want me?
Yeah.
Big fish, little fish, big fish, little fish. What's costume is Krill's drag outfit.
Yep. I'll
Oh,
give you
yeah.
that. I'll give you
Had
that.
that, but yeah, definitely.
That's just
Well,
nightmare
add
fuel.
that for worst hair as well.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah,
He's
it was
like-
pretty bad.
I don't have to. Best food, that beef that they're eating on the thing was quite nice.
Oh, the one who was throwing at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one where Tommy Lee Jones, is that what Tommy Lee Jones had, where he was like
Yeah.
trying to do a scene and just like eat it with his bare hands.
Most pornographic, airfare
Yeah.
Great.
Right. I forgot we had that. Like, I
Oh, I'll
had
tell you
that.
what, worst hair is probably Seagal's because he didn't have his signature ponytail.
I wasn't allowed it because the Navy's only got like a 4-inch rule or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the only film where he didn't have his ponytail, apparently.
Okay.
Most obvious name, of course, there's another Dahmer. Had to be.
Yeah.
Double
But, like,
Dahmer.
my actual one was Johnson. There's always a Private Johnson.
Yeah, there's always a Johnson. I like Dahmer though, like third film. Is it third film? I think it's Feels like it.
Worst Kiss with Steven Seagal and
Oh, that end one was pretty bad.
It's pretty weird, but it's the fact that he's got like a fistful of her hair that isn't there. Like,
you can't escape.
yeah, like, you must kiss me for this scene, and then let's go. Yeah, it was really weird.
I've added 2 new ones. You can keep them or get rid of them, but for me, best scene change was Krill saying, right, he needs to get out of this outfit, and the next scene is him walking out the door with his jacket on.
Yeah, that's good.
Scene
And
change,
a
we'll
new
call
one,
it quick change award.
The quick change of word. Yeah. The Krill.
Karma's a bitch. The ship that Krill betrayed ends up killing him.
Ah, yes, it did. It did.
Yeah.
I actually forgot the submarine in my deaths because I thought, is that blown up? I was like, oh, maybe it'll come back into it again. And it didn't. And I got to the end of the film. I was like, oh my God, they blew up the submarine. I had to go back. I had the deaths on.
So that's me. You can keep them or you can get rid of them if you want.
Millions of nominees there, Chris. I don't know actually what you said or not. I actually forgot to nominate the mustachioed guy for best death since he got it twice, but we'll ignore him. I've got a best product placement, Andy, but I'll come back to you for it.
Oh, good, because I don't.
Oh, that's a good one here. Best team. I've got Krill and Stranix and the gang. They're a really good team up until the point where obviously that one rogue guy is there that they weren't accounting for. But I think I don't have much else after that. Seagal for worst acting, surely. I don't know if you mentioned him, but
No,
best acting he's done actually.
Chantel said, I was like, no, this is Seagal's like apex once again acting, and even like he laughs in one scene, he is emotional, and then he puts on a Jordan accent for no apparent reason.
Yeah, he does
a Georgia accent. Yeah,
I think he's like dancing as well at one point.
He had a wee dance, and then he just turned into Steven Seagal again and couldn't act and think of a shit.
I didn't realize we had some Seagal fans. So. Worst physics: the turrets that they blow up the submarine with. Because that's you can see the submarine, and the turrets are like pointing away up into the sky. It's like, why are they there? So there's no way, unless it's like, I don't know, like Worms, where you fire a heat-seeking rocket, it goes away past, and it just comes back
you have to fire it up to come back down.
Yeah, but it's preposterous. Right, best product placement. You don't have one. Playboy magazine, like right in front of the camera. It's right there. And then
I was like, I've not seen anything, but yeah, that's one. My one was going to be just the Navy.
Yeah, I was sure it's going to be full propaganda, Navy. But
yeah, but no, Playboy wins, hands down, fair play.
Yeah, Playboy. That's us for nominees then, I think. Don't have any others. On to point 9, the moral of the story. What lesson are we supposed to learn from Under Siege? Andy, why don't you start us?
Don't piss off a cook. Handle your food.
Yes, the waiting moral story. I've gone for what Tommy Lee Jones said in the film. His moral story: Saturday morning cartoons.
That's my one as well.
yeah. Saturday morning cartoons are the best. Despite the fact he got his names mixed up.
Yeah.
So that yours then, Chris?
It wasn't word for word.
On to point 10, the rating. Where we rate the movie out of 10. Chris picked it, so Chris goes first. I'll go last because I've never seen it before.
This is another one of my guilty pleasures of mine. Like Andy said before, it is literally just Die Hard but on a boat. It's not a bad thing. Well, it's just we've seen it before, and a classic Andy line has been done better. But I can still watch this again. It's like I said, it's a guilty pleasure. I love this film. It's a 7 for me.
7 from Chris. Andy, there's a puff of cheeks there. What's your rating?
So you got Die Hard, which is on a skyscraper. You got then Die Hard, which is in an airport. The next logical step was Die Hard on a boat, so I feel like this film was needed.
It's either that or a train, I guess.
Yeah, which Under Siege 2.
Oh, really?
It's on a train. so this franchise, I think it's got legs. It's like I said, Chris. It's a little guilty pleasure. It's one of the first films I remember being an action thing. Steven Seagal has never done a better film in his life. Tommy Lee Jones is amazing in it. I'm going with Chris. It's a 7.
My God.
This is
out of nowhere. It's one of these films where I remember watching, and I've not seen it in ages, but I watched it. I was like, that is still good. It holds up.
So my rating. This is one of those.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm bringing the average down. It's not a 7 for me. But this is one of those podcasts. We're doing the podcast. I've added an extra point on because I've enjoyed talking about it and I have fond memories of it. So I've actually gone up a point to where I've got to. What I came out of it, I'd written down, a good movie made badly is what I've got of this. So we often talk about, this is that's a really good idea for a film and they did it badly, or this film was horrific, but because of this, I quite like it. This film's the structure and what's going on and the reasons and the characters are all really good. I just like we've mentioned quite clearly 3 or 4 mistakes that have happened in this film that came through. I think Seagal's pretty bad, and there's probably 20 people in Hollywood in 1992 that'd be better to cast in this film. Yeah, exactly. They might not be able to do their hands.
Nobody can do it like Seagal.
The best one was he's doing the phone. Just randomly goes like his hands like stuck as wood, just goes like that.
Yeah.
It's just like a.
But so I've talked you guys and myself have talked me up to a 5. I'd had it as a 4 because I thought it was below average. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I would definitely turn this on in the future and watch a bit of it. But there are some chunks where not an awful lot is happening. It's not all go go go. And if it wasn't Tommy Lee Jones and it wasn't some of the hilarious bits, I might have turned it off again. But a 5 from me. It doesn't affect the score too much, I don't think.
Best we've done this season.
Yeah. It's a 6 out of 10. A 6 out of 10, but with 2 7s in it. So a reasonable score for Under Siege. I've got a theme, unfinished business, so we've established that's not really the theme.
It's just business as usual.
Business. So Chris has done The Mummy and Under Siege. So 90s act on The Mummy Returns, wasn't it? That wasn't actually.
No, that was too early, yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, those 2 films is what Chris has done.
People need a comeback. Brendan Fraser, Seagal. Do we need a Seagal comeback?
No, we don't. No.
I'll tell you what. One thing you
imagine
take
Under
away
Siege
is go on YouTube and listen to some Seagal music.
Yeah, it's country jazz. Okay.
Yes.
I'll now begin to buy some time for Andy to get the wheel ready, because the wheel is next time. Our modern wheel of movies with some new stuff for us to watch. And a teaser for everyone who's listening and watching. I have seen one of the films on the wheel, and I will let you know if it comes up.
Can you see the wheel?
I can now. I can now see it. I can zoom in on your screen.
New movies.
New movies.
Movies.
Oh, yeah. That's me spelling like too fast. Anyway, so new movies is this is a list of new streaming films. So they're not always brand new films up to date, but it's new things that have came on to streaming services. So it's a cross between Disney, Amazon, and Paramount and stuff like that. So
there's definitely some films I want to come up and some films that I don't think I want to come up.
I feel like this is going to stop on Cocaine Beer. I'm calling it now.
Right. Well, it's not a rigged wheel, so we're going to press it. Here we go. Let's see what happens. What we're going to get.
I think I've seen 2 films on the wheel. Which is
it is. Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, it's not making it, is it?
Here we go. It's a Netflix film.
80
Netflix?
Brady.
Oh, it's not a Netflix film.
80. I thought I said BO for Brady.
BO for Brady.
There you go.
For Brady. Does anyone know what it is?
I feel like it's a bunch of old women in love with Tom Brady.
Is it about? It's actually Tom Brady, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is. It's some NFL film.
I think you are right.
Here we go.
Best friends get into the best kind of trouble. A quartet of elderly best friends decide to live life to the fullest by taking a wild trip to the Super Bowl 51 to see their hero, Tom Brady, play. Starring, it's the cast of that TV show. It's Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, and Sally Field. It's
Grace and Frankie. People.
Yeah, Grace and Frankie. That's it. Yeah, it's them. 80 for Brady. Is that?
This looks annoyed.
A random
I'm
film.
furious. Of all the films we can watch that thing, it comes out with this guff.
Well, that's just the wheel. Like, I mean, I was one Cocaine Bear, and I'm going to go watch Cocaine Bear straight after this podcast.
And I've already seen it, so I will review it next week on the podcast. So tune in next week for the Cocaine Bear reviews. And it was Netflix. Did you say it was Netflix?
I can't remember if Netflix or Amazon. It's one of them.
I'll have a quick Google now. I'll find out what it is.
I know it's in cinemas. You can also watch it in cinemas right now as well.
See if we can
probably American stuff, because I don't know which could be Paramount. Who knows?
Find it. Okay, never mind. Anyway, 80 for Brady, a film I'd absolutely never heard of. Next week. So yeah, tune in 1 week's time for Cocaine Bear, but mainly 80 for Brady on the 10 Point Podcast.